Thank you very much. I'm really pleased to be able to speak here today and share with you what Novo Nordisk is doing in the cell therapy space. Novo Nordisk is probably well known as a diabetes company, and it might be not so known that we actually have been working within cell therapy for more than a decade, and the past 5 years have been really dedicated in this space. Novo Nordisk was founded actually this year 100 years ago, so we have a 100 years anniversary that we're celebrating. And we are a global company headquartered in Denmark, and we're actually treating more than 34 million people with diabetes, and we are close to 50,000 employees worldwide. We have affiliates in 80 countries, so we are really truly global. And our goal is to drive change in not only diabetes, but also in other serious chronic diseases. And this is really where cell therapy come into play. So as I just mentioned, it is now 100 years ago that we started our journey within diabetes. In 1923, August Krogh and Marie Krogh actually started the manufacturing of insulin in Copenhagen. And since then, we have had a very long and innovative journey towards where we are today, 100 years later. And now we are embarking on a, at least, maybe even more exciting journey, at least in my mind, and I'm sure the audience here will recognize that as well, that we are going into hopefully be more curative within diabetes and using cell therapy in many indications. But as you all know, in this audience, I don't think I have to mention that cell therapy development is extremely complex. It is, I would even say, easier to make small molecules and proteins as we are used to work with in Novo Nordisk. But to make a living drug and hand that in the end to patients or treat patients with it, that is extremely difficult and not an easy journey. But nevertheless, we have embarked on it, and we truly believe that there is a future for cell therapy. So 5 years ago, we started cell therapy R&D at Novo Nordisk, and our ambition is to develop innovative stem cell-based treatments to improve the life of patients suffering from serious chronic diseases. And it is also our ambition not only to embark on that journey, but to do it in a very different way that you normally work in pharma industry, because we are a united small unit where we have the whole value chain. I'll speak to that in a second. And we really try to work with what we call biotech speed and pharma quality. And I think we have actually been able to do that during these 5 years. We work very much with external partnerships and collaborations, and that's also why I'm so happy to be able to speak here today. So if there's anybody in the audience or listening to this presentation later on that see themselves as a potential partner or collaborator, then please reach out to us, because we very much built our cell therapy pipeline on partnerships. We have developed a whole platform with the whole value chain actually internally at Novo Nordisk, reaching all the way from the early research and cell banking of the various types of cell lines we're working with. We are doing the differentiation, often together with partners actually, into different tissue types, and we also have a manufacturing site in US, Fremont in California. We also have our own clinical team doing the clinical studies and translation, and then also we are now building our commercial team as well. So I'll today focus on our front-runner programs. Those are these 3 programs in Parkinson's disease, chronic heart failure, and then of course, as we are a diabetes company, then type 1 diabetes. And we truly believe that tomorrow's therapy is cell-based in our unit and also in Novo Nordisk. So we are true believers of the potential in this space. And one of the reasons why we believe there is a place for cell therapy is, of course, that it's well known that cadaveric islets, they do work, and that has been demonstrated for more than 20 years. But there is a huge unmet need, of course, of these cadaveric islets, and what we hope to gain with working with cell-based therapies is that we can generate an unlimited supply with a uniform and high quality, and that we can also eventually learn how to protect the cells from the immediate death during transplantation, but also that we can protect the cells from the host immune system. This is an example of some of our studies we've done in mice, where we have transplanted different concentration or different numbers of our stem cell-derived islets into the mice and compared it with a human islet preparation in red. And as you can see, this is maybe not the best human islet preparation you could find, but on the other hand, this also really speaks to the variation of the cadaveric islet preparations that are available and how we could hopefully in the future treat patients with a off-the-shelf product that always have the same quality. And you can see that the higher doses of our stem cell-derived islets are certainly curative in this model. Another of our lead programs is to generate a cell-based treatment for heart failure. Here we work with our Japanese partner, Heartseed. And this project really aspires to improve the cardiac function in patients with heart failure. And we have developed, or the Heartseed team has developed, a very pure ventricular cardiomyocyte spheroid process and product. And you can see one of these spheroids are beating here in the picture. So these are, you could say, mini hearts that we then transplant into the patient's heart in the injured site. And the hope is then that this will regenerate and ease the recovery of the patients and finally, hopefully, really be able to regenerate the heart function. This is a very exciting space to be in because there's a huge unmet need, as you probably all know. And Heartseed, in the beginning of this year, announced that they actually have now dosed the first patient in this trial. So this is really an important milestone for us and really, really exciting. Another important front-runner project for us is in Parkinson's disease, where we hope to develop a cell therapy that also can be curative for patients. This is in collaboration with some of the leading experts in this space in Lund, at Lund University. Professor Malin Parma and Professor Anders Björklund have been pioneers for more than decades in this space. And they have developed a protocol to generate dopaminergic neurons from stem cells, and they have transplanted these into the brains of patients, and this has just been initiated, their STEM-PD trial. This was announced also in the beginning of this year that they treated their first patient with this, in the STEM-PD trial. And we work with the team and support this clinical trial, and we also then would like to take this onwards in the clinic. So when we are now here in clinic in Novo Nordisk, and that is of course a huge milestone to undertake and to get to that point, but it's not getting easier from there. And that is what we also have realized, and I think a lot of you here in the audience that also have taken that journey also understand that the complexity just keeps coming, right? Because you have the manufacturing process, the supply chain you need to build, the non-clinical trials you have to support to the trials you're generating, and the regulatory applications you need to file. Then there's a whole device and cell formulation part that is also huge undertaking to find the right devices, the right way to formulate the cells. And this is a whole story I could speak about for hours, I think, and many of you probably are aware of this. And then when you move ahead beyond phase 1, then you also have even further challenges and things you need to overcome with scalability and also the whole supply chain. So these are topics that we are now focusing on at Novo Nordisk and are working to solve. And if you have any ideas or things that you think can help us here, then please reach out to us. This is where we at least think the future should focus. So in brief, I will just end up sharing a little bit more details about our cell therapy R&D unit at Novo Nordisk. We are close to 300 employees now, with about 60 based in Fremont, US, where we have our manufacturing site, but also now the head of device development and cell formulation, and also the clinical head is now based in US. So we are certainly expanding our US footprint in the cell therapy space. As I mentioned before, we cover the full value chain from research, CMC, development, and devices also. And we work and try to be super innovative in the way we do the work and work very collaborative across the whole value chain. We have, as I spoke to, these 3 front-runner programs in chronic heart failure, Parkinson's disease, and type 1 diabetes. But we also do have a preclinical pipeline, and that I would just touch upon today, where we also work in other neurological disorders. We work with immune cells, and we also work in kidney disease. And here we are also, again, always interested in to learn about other opportunities in the cell therapy space where there might be a possibility to translate into clinic. So please reach out to us if you have something ongoing there. And finally, we work a lot with partnerships. As you can see on the map, we have our partners distributed and all our cell therapy activities distributed globally. You can see the dots, and there is a dot missing. Yesterday it was announced that we now have the partnership with Aspect Biosystems, so we need to add a dot in Vancouver also now, and we are very pleased that this could be announced while we are here together with Aspect. We have, as you can see, more than 30 partnerships and collaborations with leading experts, even though our pipeline is mainly focused on these 3 front-runner programs. So we're really heavily depending on external experts and insights into both the diseases and the technologies that we're working with. And that has been extremely beneficial and something that we really would like to continue because it is super valuable to do these ways of working and partnerships. So with that, I will end, and I think there's room for 1 or 2 questions if anybody has a burning question. So thanks a lot for your attention, and if there's no questions, then you can find me, and we are a couple of more colleagues here at the conference, so please reach out to us.